His corpse was found burned in the boiler room. His limbs were cut off, and his head was halfway cut off. A stake was piercing his forehead. Huh. The limbs were separated from the body, resting next to it almost like an exhibition. And even the head seemed to be cut halfway down, with a stake piercing it in the forehead. It was like someone had started cutting it off and had never bothered to finish the job. Rosa-san, please take Maria out of the room immediately. What the hell? Is that grandfather? He's not even recognizable. Why is he in pieces? Yes. That's Kinzo-san. The feet, I mean. The corpse. It has 6 toes. Nanjo pointed with a slightly shaky hand at the legs. Just as he said, it could still be seen that the corpse had 6 toes. There was no doubt about it. The burned, mutilated corpse belonged to Shiromiya Kinzo. Alright. Warn me not to eat anything before you show off how tasteless your style is. You're finally starting to sound like Valor, Vigilius. I'm getting excited. Oh, and in case you were wondering, this is indeed Ushirimiya Kinzo's corpse. So don't start having funny ideas like mannequins or anything of that sort. Huh. You definitely surpassed yourself this time. That's the 3rd time you've burned grandfather. But this time you didn't even let him stay in one piece. One piece! Repeating the same pattern again and again isn't my style. I had to make at least some kind of change after all. Now what? You really hoped for Kinzo to be an accomplice, and now he's dead. That changes nothing. For all I care, he only died now. So there's no reason to deny the possibility that he could have done so before. Ushiramiya Kinzo died in his room. What? No. Not again. Ah, yes, indeedy. From the moment Eva stuck the paper in his door on October 4th evening until the time Genji locked it for the group to inspect it. The door wasn't opened even once. The window wasn't opened either. This cursed red truth. Again with this red truth with no holes. Didn't I tell you already? The more red we get, the closer we'll get to the real truth. Well, there's no room for doubt that we could talk about the Kinzo who died in that room like years ago. That and his corpse may have always been in the boiler room or something. You know, one interesting detail when it comes to that kind of thing, when it comes to Kinzo dying like years ago and yet finding his body and all that, he could have been put in some refrigerator or something to preserve his body, I guess. That's like one of the things that I was thinking of in the main story. Solve it. Solve it already! Why aren't you solving it? Huh? Suddenly it's my role alone? Weren't you her opponent as well? Since when did you stop thinking and leave it all to me? I can't do it, Ryu. I just can't do it. No. We can still blame as person X. An outsider who did it. Like who? Like me? Is that what you're trying to get at? She already said no one but me reached the island. And that there are no more than 18 people on the island. You need to face it already, Beller-san. Someone in your family is a murderer. Whether you want to acknowledge it or not. Quiet. Quiet! I don't want to hear it from you. You won't hear it from anyone other than me. The woman in front of you here will just tell you it's a witch. Beller tried to look away, but Virgilius grabbed his shoulder furiously, forcing him to face him. Blaming Person X and blaming the witch. Is there any difference at all? If you weren't ready to deny the witch even with the price of blaming someone from your family, why did you enter this fight to begin with? If you just plan on trying to solve it the easy way with an outsider, you should have just admitted it's a witch, isn't that right? Just because it's so easy for you doesn't mean it's easy for me. I never said it's easy. Who the hell said it's easy? But why won't you realize that trying to make everyone innocent all the time and trying to deny the witch at the same time is impossible? You know, it is an interesting dynamic right over here because this is episode 3. It is still at the point where Balor was still trying to not think that one of its members could be the culprit and all that. Hell, he was crying about it, like in episode 2. So, yeah. It's interesting to see that Virgilius right over here is the one who is trying to give him like the reality check, so to speak. Your sole goal should be to prove it was done by a human. But it looks like your only goal is to keep your family's hands clean. If that was your wish, then surrendering to the witch was a choice that made more sense. Now, which is more important for you? Denying the witch or keeping your family innocent? Virgilius spoke those words in low voice, his eyes cold and angry. And Balor went quiet. He wanted both. He wanted to keep believing in his family members. He wanted them to be innocent. But at the same time, he wanted to deny the existence of the witch. Was there really no way to achieve both things? Was it really impossible? He didn't want to think it. He didn't want to admit the possibility. Virgilius' grip on his shoulder loosened, and he gave me a bored, almost pitying expression. I told you already, Balor-san. I'm here to win, and I will do anything in order to win. That includes blaming every single person in your family if I have to. This isn't just a game, Balor-san. My life, as well as your life, are on the line. I know that. I can't do it. I don't want to suspect anyone. Why would anyone in my family do something so messed up? Do you really have time to think of the reason when you can barely think of a possible candidate? I mean, reasoning is important, Virgilius. Perhaps, if we find the culprit, we can question them for their reasons, but we need to find who can actually do it first. Virgilius leaned closer, a hint of a smile on his face. Hey, Meta-san, can you really defeat the witch? Can you do it? Can you throw away everything in order to win? I'm sure you can. The only thing you need to do is to join me. You're a good person, Meta-san. But it's also your biggest weakness. That's why you have to throw it away. Come, I'll help you. Together we can overcome it and win. I'm not really liking the sound of that. The way you said that. Balor shook his head in frustration, holding onto it as he cowered in his feet, while Virgilius simply touched his back, almost as if in compassion. Opposed to Virgilius' calming, gentle voice, Beatrice started laughing, making Balor raise his head again, meeting the witch's gaze. Have you finally realized it, Balor? The only way to have peace in your heart is to acknowledge me. Is denying me so important you're willing to blame someone from your own family? I've told you already, this is a nightmare. And if you acknowledge me, all of your dreams can come true. That includes the dream where none of your family members have to stain their hands. That still sounds so bad, Balor. Quiet. Please be quiet, both of you. I know it's hard, Balor-san. I'm here for you. I will help you. I can free you from this pain forever, Balor. Beatrice also approached the man, a smile all over her face. But unlike the hopeless feeling it always gave him, this time it was almost welcoming, which only made Balor flinch more, looking away. Yeah, so we have a man right over here who is trying to make Balor think that it is one of the family members, thus to fight the witch, And Beatrice right over here is doing the complete opposite. Stuck between two roads. As much as Virgilius is trying to help, it's not working. After all, no matter where he looked right now, he had to face one of the two painful choices he had been presented with. Someone help him. Someone. He doesn't want to do it anymore. He doesn't want to make any painful choices anymore. Perhaps he should just let Virgilius play instead of him. Like this, he won't have to bear the burden of pointing out the murderer. But it was just as he said. That was no different than acknowledging the witch. There really was no escape from this nightmare. It was a never-ending nightmare. A maze with no escape. A story with no happy ending. Ooh. Oh me, oh my. The survivors of the Konjima were all present in the parlor of the main house. The atmosphere was tense and heavy, and for a long time, no one said a word. Maria was sitting by the table, drawing a magic circle on her papers before showing it to Bella.
Here, this is a seal on grandfather's door.
Bella took her notebook entirely, looking at it before frowning a little. For some reason, the seal looked familiar, as if he had seen this before. What does this one even mean?
It repels witches like Beatrice. Usually, Beatrice wouldn't be able to go through such a door, but she might have gotten strong enough that even seals like this won't be able to repel her anymore.
Is it the scorpion charm? Symbol?
Bella should be more careful now, too.
Me? What about me?
Maria's good luck charm may not help you anymore.
Bella reached to his pocket, taking out the charm he received from Maria yesterday, examining it more thoroughly. It had an identical drawing to what Maria drew on it, so that would mean it was also identical to the one on Kinzo's door. However, at this point, even Kinzo was already found dead, burned and in pieces. Does that mean that up until now, when he stayed by himself to protect the door from the culprit, the only thing that kept him safe was that charm? Does it also mean that from now on, he is no longer safe? Just thinking about those things made him feel ashamed. After all, there was no way they were all connected, or that it was truly a witch who did all that. Thinking something like this contradicted everything he worked for until now. But disproving the witch would force him to admit that one of his family members or their servants are murderers. In fact, it's not impossible that the murderer is sitting with them in this room at this very moment, waiting for the right moment to strike, or for them to get separated. Balor gritted his teeth, his grip on the charm tightening. The more time passed, the less rational his thoughts became. He wanted to trust what his eyes were seeing, but the truth that was in front of him was too cruel to handle, too confusing to face. He was like all that was left in him now was his primal, pathetic need to survive. What are you holding there, Balor-kun? Yesterday, when I gave Maria my jacket, she gave me this charm in return, and told me it'd protect me from witches. It feels so stupid, but I cannot help but feel like it protected me last night, and when I got at the door back then.
It's not stupid. Beatrice probably couldn't get close to you up until now. This charm protected you.
I can't help but feel bad. I wonder, if I gave my charm to someone else, would they be safe? I know it's stupid. I know. I just can't help it. It almost sounds like you assume you are supposed to be sacrificed at this point when I say it like this. You can't blame me, right? Jessica and George Ariakey were both sleeping with me in the same room, but the two of them died, and I stayed alive. What if it was really because of the charm? Jessica-chan and George both died with their fathers. Huh? Eva's voice sounded a little more offensive than Bella assumed it would be, making you look at her in confusion. That's right. All the men in the family are dead. Also, my husband died with George. Klaus Nissan died with Jessica. But you didn't die with Rudolph. Oh, hold on a second. I'm not liking the sound of this. Yeah, Bella being the one, the man, the odd one in this, that he didn't die with Rudolph. That, and combined with the fact that he was the one who was left behind to guard those doors. From the other people's perspectives, they more than likely are gonna think that Bella is the culprit. Father is dead too. In other words, you're the only man who remained alive within our family, and within those who wear the one wiggle, within those who wear the one wicked eagle on their clothes. Eva stood up and pointed her fan at Bella, wearing a vicious smile. Bella-kun, I believe you're either the culprit or an accomplice. As soon as the words came out of Eva's mouth, Bella stood up as well. Ah, fuck. Are you kidding me? We're going through this again? I did the same thing with Rosa last time. You're blaming me?
Eva-san, blaming Bella-kun for something like this is too cruel. Both his father and Kiria-san are dead. Quiet, Nazi. I didn't ask for your opinion. Unless you have some wiser thoughts to share with all of us regarding a possible culprit.
Eva and Nazi glared at each other, before Nazi shifted her gaze to Virgilius, who immediately narrowed his eyes.
Virgilius-san. Virgilius-kun, are you out of your mind? This guy is a complete stranger to the family who arrived here by accident. But what if he isn't? What if he has a reason to do all this? What if he arrived here on purpose? Isn't it weird that as soon as he joined the family meeting, suddenly people started dying?
Okay. So you have like Virgilius and Bella on the table. One or the other. Well, I'm so sorry for not being dead.
What do you even mean by saying he's not a complete stranger? Do you have any basis for your delusional claims?
Nazi swallowed heavily. It's not that she didn't have any evidence at all. However, that would result in her exposing worse secrets that she had sworn to never tell anyone. Woohoo! But if she didn't, he might get away with his acts. What should she do? How can she solve it?
I could ask the same question. Why are you suspecting Bella-kun as the culprit?
I think that's...
Isn't it obvious? Almost all those Yumiya family members are dead by now. Aside for the two of us, Bella-kun, Rosa, and Maria-chan. Once I'm killed, Bella-kun is next in line. No, maybe he thinks that since all the men are dead, he's already next in line right now.
Oh, you really think I would kill my own family for money?
That would explain why you came back now, right? Eva-san.
If Bella-san wanted to get rid of the Mushumiya family, wouldn't it make more sense for him to kill you along with George-san, instead of your husband? That is a good point. Virgilius spoke slowly, making Bella and both women turn on him. Like they're yelling, his tone was still low and composed, and he wasn't even bothering to stand up from the couch he was sitting on.
Are you defending Bella-kun, Virgilius-kun?
I'm not defending anyone. I can't wrap my mind around one person just yet, so I simply state what's coming to my mind, considering you trying to explain the motive.
You do realize you're not out of the suspicion list, right?
Please, Eva-san. You really think that a person with no knowledge about this dimension's layout can pull off something like this? Since yesterday evening, I've only seen the mansion's first floor, until they gave me that tour a little while ago. I don't know any of the servants or anyone here that could even try assisting me with pulling off something as crazy as this.
You could easily bribe them or promise them something. That's not an excuse.
Are we being blamed as accomplices just like this? After Nazi spoke, Virginia started laughing, making the scene even more uncomfortable. Bribe them? Wait, what? I bet these guys are getting paid better than I will be for at least the next decade or so. Besides, those are big words from someone who pointed a gun at me just a little while ago.
Huh? Natsuki pointed a gun at you?
Uh-oh.
I was questioning him, trying to understand if he is the culprit. I didn't point a gun at him. I just held it. When was it? How did he even find the time to threaten people like that? Perhaps you're an accomplice too, Natsuki? Why would I kill my own husband and child? How could I know? Maybe you hold some grudges against the Oshimiya family.
Your logic is getting out of hand, Aoba-san. With such logic, I can say that Rosa Aoba-san is an accomplice because she's the only one who didn't lose her closest family member. Maria and I were sleeping in the same room and have not left each other's side since last night.
You should stop fighting. It's the witch who did it. Maria is sure that if Virginius wasn't here, she could show herself even earlier.
Oh, so you want me to leave? Or perhaps is this some kind of plan to separate us one by one to kill us? Sorry, but I don't plan on dying.
Then admit it already.
Admit your side first then, Natsuki-san. Jesus. Should I really be the one to bring it up?
What are you hiding, Natsuki?
Jesus. What a clusterfuck of everyone pointing fingers at each other. Natsuki glared at Virgilius with hatred, gritting her teeth. If she won't say it herself, this man will say it, and word it the worst way possible. I got a letter.
You got a what?
He only said, "Good night, mother." I thought maybe it was from Jessica.
Bring it right away and let us examine it. Why did you hide something like this?
Was it really just that, Natsuki-san? Why would you think I'm in charge of that letter and try to question me about it then? Unless you're just going to say you have some secret illegitimate children and think I'm one of them. I can't think of any other reason. Oh.
You... How dare you? How dare you blame me for something as shameful as that?
I didn't blame you. I just suggested some crazy ideas and you decided to take it personally. Oh.
I threw the letter away. It came with a creepy doll. So I thought Jessica was trying to prank me because of the witch letter. I plan on scolding her today, but that would make no sense. Maria only read that letter during the dinner. And right after, Jessica-chan was always with the children in the guest room. She didn't have time to put anything like this in your room after dinner. This is exactly why I think it's possible one of the servants might have helped her with that prank. It doesn't change the fact that Natsuki didn't tell anyone about it until Virgilius-kun brought it up. Iwane-san, you're not in a different position. Right now, you're the first in line because Kraus-Nissan is dead. You have the same motive you claim Better-kun to have. Oh, Rosa, are you blaming me? Me who lost her husband and son? How would you feel if Maria-chan died and someone accused you of a murder? This is exactly why I can't trust any of you anymore. Natsuki-san hid important details despite the situation, and both you and Better-kun have reasonable motives to be the culprits.
Stop it. Stop suspecting each other. Didn't Ryu-san say before that we always have subjective truths and blame each other like this? I mean, not to mention that Virgilius right over here said that, and yet here he is right now, like, putting more oil to the flame. Rosa stood up, narrowing her eyes as she looked at the people in the room.
I've decided.
I'm taking Maria away from here. We'll lock ourselves safely in a guest house until tomorrow.
Mama.
I'm not negotiating about it. Watching this fight helped me make up my mind about it. I have a gun fully loaded, and I'm ready to protect myself and Maria, even if I have to acknowledge that one of you is the culprit. Rosa-Basan, going away will just make you an easier target for the culprit. I refuse to stay with the wolves. If Anesan is right, I must protect Maria. Rosa took her gun from the table in one hand, and Maria's hand in the other. Maria didn't even have time to protest or voice her opinion about her mother's decision before the two exited the room in a storm. Alright, well, bye. Here comes the chaos. Even more chaos. We're all separating from one another. Slowly. Matter passed his fingers through his hair in frustration. If both Rosa and Maria go like this all by themselves, they'll really make an easy target. I'm going real quick to return this charm to Maria. Better, son. Going after them will only expose you to danger as well. The hell with that. If the culprit wants to shoot me, then they should just shoot me. I have no guns or weapons on me, right? He showed off his empty hands and the pockets which had nothing in them demonstratively before exiting the room. Aw, man. Rosa and Maria were already making their way to the guest house. Neither of them were holding an umbrella, letting the heavy rain pour on their heads. If there would come a case where if she has to react fast, she knew the umbrella would only hinder her reaction. Rosa-Basan, please wait! As soon as Battle yelled, Rosa immediately pointed her gun at him, making him raise his arms up above his head. I have no weapon. I'm just here to return Maria's charm to her.
But that was a gift.
Then return it to me tomorrow after the police arrive. Right now, I wanted to protect you again. At least, if it can. Matter took a few steps forward, looking to Rosa for approval to get closer. Rosa didn't lower the gun, but gestured with her head to signal that he could get closer. He carefully walked to Maria, despite the gun still pointed at him, and placed the charm in her hands. Alright, well, there you go, Maria. Thank you for protecting me with that up until now. I'll do my best by myself, too. After he said it, he straightened up, holding his hands up above his head again, and turned away, walking back to the mansion. We should go quickly. Rosa tried to give Maria a small push, so she'd start walking, but Maria only looked down at the charm in her hands.
Mama, you shouldn't suspect anyone like this.
The rain was pouring down on the two girls who stood in the garden, but Maria's eyes were still fixated on the charm. Better had returned to her, a gloomy expression all over her face. She didn't want to have it back, despite how he had insisted on it. Her fingers closed on the charm, feeling tears choking her throat. Oh. Maria never had a chance to give someone something like this up until now, let alone have someone accept it and treasure it. And that's why she was so happy when she could give someone such a thing, and that they put their trust in her magic. After all, Maria knew. Even if Beatrice chooses her as a sacrifice, they'll be okay, because they'll meet in the Golden Land. But someone like Bather, who's still afraid, should be the one with the charm, so he can feel safer. Oh. That's such a sweet explanation. Like, of course, Maria feels safe with Beatrice, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the others are gonna feel safe up until the point where they're gonna go to the Golden Land. Afterwards, it's all gonna be honky-dory in Maria's eyes, but up until then, Maria sees that the others are gonna be deathly afraid of everything. I mean, she sees it herself. I mean, especially Better right over here, who just came back to the family. So for him to see all this, it scares the ever-living crap out of him. So for Maria to give him the charm for that, it's quite something. If I'm gonna be honest, I didn't think too much about the Scorpion charm and the significance of Maria giving this to Beller. Mostly because it mostly happened in like episode 1, and that's about it. And even then, Beller gave that to Jessica. And now we can see like the meaning behind this. I don't want to suspect anyone. But for your sake, Maria, I have no choice.
Are you afraid?
Maria asked the question as she looked up at her mother, making Rosa choke a little bit on her breath. And that's right. Even Mama is afraid sometimes, you know. Right now, I'm very afraid. I'm afraid because I don't want anything bad to happen to you. And that's why I don't mind looking like a bad guy, or suspecting other family members. As long as it means I'll be capable of protecting you. Rosa kneeled in front of Maria, giving her an encouraging smile. Don't worry. Once it's all over and the culprit is caught, I'll apologize to everyone for doubting them. So you shouldn't be sad now.
Mama, you're the one who shouldn't be sad. Soon, you won't need to suspect anyone anymore. But since you're still afraid, Maria will be the one to protect you. Here.
Maria put a charm in Rosa's hand.
Bella asked me to keep it safe until I return it to him tomorrow. But right now, Mama needs it more than me. So you should be the one to keep it for him until tomorrow, okay?
Rosa looked down at the charm. Even with everything that was happening, Maria was still able to smile brightly like this. In that moment, all those childish obsessions, all this behavior Rosa resented so much, wasn't so bad anymore. After all, a normal child her age shouldn't go through something like this. So perhaps, if it was also that on this day she wouldn't be afraid, and should be protected from the cruelty of this world, maybe it wasn't so terrible. Maybe this kind of way to escape reality wasn't so bad after all. Rosa could feel something warm going down her cheeks, mixing with the rain.
Mama?
I'm okay. Mama just realized she might have been very stupid for a very long time. Is your world bright right now, Maria?
My world is always bright as long as Mama is with me.
I see. I'm happy. My world is also bright when you're here. Rosa tried wiping away her own tears, smiling at Maria. That's right. Even if it was childish and unfitting for a child her age, it made Maria see even the cruelest things with bright light. How could she even think of trying to turn that light off? How could she be so stupid? I'm sorry, Maria. Mama's going to do better from now on, okay? I'll take you to that restaurant you like once we get back home.
Will you be able to eat the ice cream with the chocolate?
That's right. You'll be able to eat anything you want.
Maria can...
For one moment, Maria completely forgets about the Golden Land and think about this dream and thinks about this special moment of spending time with her mother the way she always wanted.
Maria can't wait. We'll share ice cream together, Mama.
Yes, let's. We'll eat plenty of ice cream and then have a fun night together, just the two of us. It's a promise. Just the two of them. I'm actually reminded of Saktaro here a little bit. Rosa reached her hand forward a little, offering her pinky with a tiny smile. And Maria immediately entwined her pinky with Rosa's, smiling brightly as she shook their hands together a little bit.
It's a promise. So don't forget it, okay?
Mama will keep this promise.
Unless, like, Maria thinks that this is gonna happen in the Golden Land. Which case, nah. Forget what I just said before.
Still, we shouldn't keep standing here in the rain. Although my previous interpretation of that, like excluding the Golden Land, it feels more interesting in my eyes. Instead of thinking that they're gonna do this in like the Golden Land, that for 1 second Maria just forgets about the Golden Land and thinks about what she always wanted to do with her mother, like right here before the Golden Land. Let's head to the guest house and dry our clothes. I don't want you to catch a cold. Rosa smiled at Maria before giving her a short hug, standing up and taking her hand. They both had each other. Right now, even Rosa could see the world as bright as Maria saw it. It was hard to remember how dark it had looked just mere moments before. As they were approaching the guest house, Rosa suddenly spotted a shadow approaching them, immediately making her raise her gun with a frown. "Who's there? Show yourself right now, or I will shoot!" As the figure slowly approached, Maria's eyes brightened.
Netta, you came to see us.
Maria let go of Rosa's hand, rushing to hug the figure with a smile. Alright, well, time to go through this. However, the witch wasn't smiling, only rested her hand on her shoulder. Maria, do you remember I promised you that one day I would take you to the Golden Land?
Maria remembers. Maria has always been waiting.
It seems that time has come. Beatrice let go of Maria, giving her a bitter smile. A lot of things have gone differently than I expected. My board was interrupted by an unexpected guest, and while I tried to keep to what I had originally planned, it looks like I'm at my limit. I will need you to help me now.
But Mama promised to take Maria out to eat in her favorite restaurant.
What is the meaning of this? Rosa was stunned, looking at the witch with confusion. Was it really the witch all along? Beatrice's rather gloomy expression changed into a smile as she looked at Rosa. Rejoice, Rosa. You and Maria have been chosen as my sacrifices. But worry not, both of you will be united together in the Golden Land. Maria is my precious student, so I will not defile your bodies like the others. This will be my parting gift to you.
Will Mama be the same kind of Mama she's now in the Golden Land too?
Of course she'll be. The Black Witch will not be allowed in my Golden Land after all. Both girls smiled sadly at each other, but Rosa only wore a furious expression, pointed the gun at Beatrice. I will not let you take Maria away. Guns are useless against me, Rosa. I suggest you don't shoot. It'll only backfire at you. Let Maria go! As Rosa shot the gun, she suddenly felt a sharp, burning pain in her stomach. Was she the one shot? But how? What's that? Rosa held onto her wounded area, which started dripping down on the ground, falling onto her knees, and the gun fell down next to her.
Miato, don't make Mama suffer, please. Miato.
I know. I'll finish it right away. Give Maria back. The second shot went to her shoulder. It looked like it was aimed at her heart, but Rosa managed to move away, making the shot miss the vital place by mere chance. Oh my god. Rosa gritted her teeth, trying to drag herself towards the two.
If you keep hurting Mama like this, Maria can't forgive you.
Maria left Beatrice aside, running to her mother, before another gunshot pierced the air. Laza's leg was shot as well, making her unable to move, the puddles of rain around the two girls filling with blood. It looks like the charm your mother holds is stopping me from killing her immediately. Beatrice, what are you doing? Maria, your charm is only slowing down her death.
Mama!
Maria reached towards Rosa's pocket, taking the charm out and throwing it aside. As soon as she did, a weapon faster than the gun made its way to the girls, piercing Rosa in the chest. It was one of the 7 stakes of Purgatory. Now, without a charm to protect Rosa from it, it could finally pierce through her flesh. Rosa's sacrifice was for the 5th twilight. Your twilight is in the stomach, but I believe it might not kill you immediately. I do not want you to suffer. Allow me to make it faster. Before Maria could say anything, the gun shot its last 3 shots in Maria. 1 in the head and 2 in the chest, making her fall down like a lifeless doll. Then another one of the stakes appeared, piercing through her stomach. This is my punishment as well, for creating bonds with humans. I'm now paying the price of the momentary pain I need to feel. For a witch like me to feel such sadness for killing a human. I have truly become soft. And maybe it's my very own student. I thank you, Maria. For a mere moment, I could feel the sadness of eternal loss. Something an endless witch like me forgot how to feel. Ah, my role is truly bright right now. I can't wait to have a tea party with you in the Golden Land. Alright. Man, you know, seeing all of these Twilights taking place, it really makes me think back on episode 2 and especially episode 3 in the sense that this definitely has the feeling of episode 2 like a lot, combined with a lot of elements from the other episodes too, like episodes 5 and such. But it also makes you think of how, like, episode 3 was quite different, looking back. Like, with the inclusion of Evatris and what happened in that episode because of Evatris, surely felt like quite a drastically different episode from, like, the normal kind of episode that you would get out of Beatrice alone when writing episode 1, episode 2, and a little bit of episode 4, I guess. Episode 3 was quite something. The party was quiet. As soon as Rosa and Maria left, the situation had cooled down, and the fight that had started its court had died out. Beller, who had been suspected by Eva until a short while ago, sat in front of her to assure her of his innocence, staring at the rainy window. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, I thought that this was another meta moment with Toya and Ikuko, mainly because of the background, but no, we're still here. He felt tired, as if all energy had been drained out of him, and didn't really have the will to suggest anything or look for anything to do. All he wanted was to doze off on the couch, close his eyes, and not think about anything. Nutty, who had been alerted with everything around her, also seemed to slowly fall asleep. Her head was hanging, and the gun was resting on her lap. Eva, on the other hand, was still restless. She was checking around the room every once in a while, as well as outside the window, before going back to sit on the couch. Nanjo, along with the remaining servants, Genji, Kumaso, and Gora, were sitting by themselves on the other side of the room, along with Virgilius. There was a quiet chatter between them that didn't seem to gain the attention of anyone else in the room. Without a proper autopsy, I can't really tell when Kinzo-san's corpse reached that condition. Even as a doctor, I can't really give a time estimation for a burned corpse. I assumed as much. I just can't stop thinking about everything that has happened. I don't even know if there is anything I can do about it. And perhaps the best thing we can do is wait. But my mind just keeps getting restless. Kumasawa-san, you said the murders so far are corresponding to the epitaph of the witch, right?
That's right. The epitaph is supposed to point to the location of hidden gold, which once belonged to the witch and was given to the master as part of the deal he made with her. There are a lot of rumors that the witch still wanders in the mansion by the night, leaving opened windows and causing mischief. The younger servants even speculated she once pushed a servant who didn't believe in her off the stairs.
Yeah, I remember that. Were Shan-san and Kan-san believers of the witch? Do you think it might have been a revenge against the disbelievers? Still, even if it is, it would be weird. It would mean there's something or someone on the island who kept maintaining these legends, even when there were no murders involved. True, it might have been done for Kinzo-san's sake. He truly believed in the revival of the witch and yearned for it. He invested in black magic and the occult in order to be able to revive her again. Maybe some servants didn't believe it, but pretended to believe it to earn the master's trust? After all, if the master believed in the witch, perhaps he would have trusted servants with the same ideas more.
The ghost stories of the witch of the forest were also used to stop the younger children from running to the forest.
Yeah.
We all used to say there's a witch in there, which made it too scary to explore.
Some servants would also sometimes complain that their keys or belongings disappeared without a trace, and believe the witch was playing pranks on them.
Yeah.
I remember such situations like in episode 7. I see. So the witch can also be considered some kind of collective acceptance of ghost stories, used to explain any mystery or something that's hard to understand on this island. I guess that instead of trying to explain why the window stayed open, it's easier to blame witch. And instead of explaining a child why the forest is dangerous, it's easier to say a witch lives here. And instead of trying to cope with Kinzo's madness, he yearns for a witch, or even a lost mistress or a friend. In a way, it's almost like how religious people explain things they didn't understand with a higher, unknown god who has unlimited powers throughout history. Virgilius sank in his seat, staring at the ceiling. And that would mean that, in a way, the witch is an excuse. The witch can be used as an easy explanation for why something hard to understand happened. That thing wasn't there before. I'm certain I closed that window. Where did that item go? Why did I come to this place again? I lost balance for no reason. Everyday things could be covered up as the witch is doing without putting too much thought into them. There was a collective idea that a witch lives on the island, and it became easier to blame her instead of taking responsibility for your own doings. Perhaps it also made life more exciting. The idea that some unknown power is lurking in the darkness, changing the way things behave or affecting reality in a way we can't understand, can make life more exciting and mysterious. It can entertain you and make you think of exciting possibilities, and at the same time, give a satisfying temporary answer. Meanwhile, for some people, it even seemed to become some kind of coping mechanism. For people like Kinzo, and perhaps Maria, the existence of the witch and magic became a break from reality. Kinzo, who couldn't accept death and dedicated his life to it, and Maria, who feels her role with it to overcome harsh reality. However, while most people treated the witch as an excuse for something that happened and they can't understand, the culprit treated the witch as an excuse for something that will happen. The witch is an excuse for the actions they will do. So maybe they can't explain their own actions to themselves, and that's why they have to use the witch? The witch usually served as a barrier from unknown things, a barrier from reality. But now, the witch is serving a weapon. Someone is actively weaponizing the concept of witch for their actions. Virgilius' train of thought was cut by a small noise. It took him a moment to realize it was his own stomach. Hungry there, buddy? I do have some, I'm forgetting the name in English. Croissant. There you go. I have some croissants with me. One with chocolate and one with peaches. Like peach flavor. Are you hungry, Virgilius-sama? I guess I was. None of us really ate anything proper today, so I didn't realize how hungry I'm until now. Eva, who was on her room stroll, approached their table as she noticed their conversation. We should at least get some canned food and things to hold us up till the morning. What about Rosa-sama and Maria-sama? Do they have any food? I believe there's no food in the guest house at the moment. It might become a problem for them. We can all go and get food together right now, and then call the guest house and suggest bringing the food to them. Sounds like a good idea. Virgilius stood up, stretching his legs. The thing is, though, we've seen that Maria and Rosa died there, and more than likely, once we go to the guest house to bring the food, like an old lady, we're gonna notice them dead. And if we were to go by the objectivity rule, then I guess it will be like clear enough evidence that that Virgilius is not part of the murders. His body was still sore from yesterday, and he felt heavy. Despite that, he was the least of his problems at the moment. He only needed to approach where Balor and Natsu were to make her wake up abruptly, looking at him suspiciously. We're going to get food. We'll call Maria-san and Morosa-san afterwards. Wait, was that Virgilius or Natsu? I see. I'll join too, of course. Okay, that was Virgilius. We should all stick together. I hope they're safe. Balor stood up, looking tired and upset. Once we called him, we can hear about their situation, right? The phone stopped working, but the internal line still works. At least, from what I've been told. Who knows, maybe the culprit themselves will eventually bother to call us. That would save us a lot of thinking and confusion. And confirm the culprit isn't one of us. That's some wishful thinking. Balor frowned at Virgilius, who only turned away and followed the servants and Eva to the exit. He couldn't really blame him for his attitude. That man went through a near-death experience and survived just to have his life in danger again. Of course, he would get bitter. The trip to the kitchen didn't take long, and the group decided to settle in there in order to dine. Gora was eager to make something better than canned food, and improvise something fast for the seated people with the help of Masao and Genji. As the group was eating, the tension also soothed away a little bit, and a calmer aura filled the room. Okay, so I don't know if what I'm about to say is really that important, nor should it be said, or it's whatever. But of course, we don't we don't see Gora as the killer. That's for sure. He has never been the culprit. Like, he never helped or anything like that. But there was this one point during the main story where we should be eating canned food because, well, as far as these people are concerned, they might think that the food is going to be poisoned by Gora. So that's the reason why they would mostly eat canned food. But, it's whatever. Just let them eat some good food before they die. Hunger can make people very upset and nervous. Please take time to enjoy your food and forget your problems. Oh, well, thank you. I wish I could just eat until tomorrow morning. I wouldn't mind having some alcohol either. Eh? Aren't you 18? Even I can't legally drink yet. There's a culprit on this island that might shoot me in the face in a moment. I wouldn't mind drinking some alcohol beforehand.
Meta-kun, please don't speak like this. We aren't going to let anyone else get hurt anymore. Still, it's a shame Rosa and Maria-chan aren't here to eat along with us. Perhaps it could calm their spirits as well.
I think we should call them. Maybe they'll decide to join us regardless. Nazi put down her fork and walked to the phone that was stationed closer to the exit of the kitchen. Every once in a while, she would hang up and attempt another number, but at no point did the conversation start. No answer.
Maybe they're too afraid to answer the phone. Why would they be afraid to answer the phone? It's obviously the only way we can communicate with them right now, or notify them about anything.
So why won't they answer? Okay, now I'm hungry for some croissants. But I gotta continue this. Meta was asking the question out loud, but no one wanted to answer. There was one answer that came to everyone's mind, but no one wanted to suggest it out loud. Of course, Kumasawa's suggestion could still be true. It could be that Rosa decided to cut off any communication with the rest of the group, even though it would be irrational to go as far as avoiding any interaction even through the phone. Another reason would be that they're not even in the guest house, or that they don't want anyone to discover the location they're in within the guest house. True, because I think that there is this possibility that someone else, like in the main house or the guest house, could listen in on the conversation. It is possible, so as far as they are concerned, they would see that option. After all, answering the phone in a specific room will confirm the room they're in. But all these thoughts were obviously a way to avoid the undeniable thought that something might have happened to the two, and they cannot answer anymore. I think we have no choice. We should go and check on their well-being. I agree. We should have made an agreement to communicate on the phone with them before they left just in case. Surviving until tomorrow without food isn't impossible, but it's definitely unpleasant.
Do you really think something happened to them? We shouldn't have let them live by themselves.
We can't do anything about it now. The only thing we can do is go and we're sure they're safe.
Yes, I know. I just can't help it. We'll move as one group. Please finish eating and we'll head to the guest house soon after. I've already finished eating. Let me try and keep contacting them in the meanwhile. Natsuki let go of the phone, returning to her seat, while Eva took her position, attempting to call again as the rest finished their food. A few minutes later, the group had already made its way to the guest house. Alright. Oh boy. I don't see any light in the guest house.
Eva noted it as the group proceeded. Within the rose garden. Even now, some stubborn flowers remain intact despite the rain and wind, giving some color to the beautiful structure of it. Even like this, the garden remained beautiful, even if it was only a glimpse of how beautiful it used to be. Yeah. I mean, look at those beautiful roses right there. Those beautiful, beautiful red roses. And right there. And right there. Oh, and also right there. I thought that those were like the golden roses and all that, but no, apparently I see some red roses right over there. Oh wait, those are roses painted with red blood. It's Maria and Rosa's blood. Oh hey, those are Rosa and Maria's dead bodies. As they were getting closer to the guest house, Meta was the first to notice. Natsuo-san. That's... He pointed forward with a shaky hand to the corner of one of the flower beds. An arm.
No. Rosa-san. Maria-chan.